Okay, so what we're doing today is we are going to learn the basics about the interface of Premiere. I'm going to talk about setting up your hard drives and everything and setting up your folders for your video edit here. I'm going to use footage that I shot at a fireman's fair in 2010, but you are going to use footage from your excursions out as groups last week. And so just to recap, if you have your own hard drive, if you haven't formatted it yet, formatting erases it, gets it ready for our class. You click on the magnifying glass, you go to Disk Utility, and under Disk Utility you can click on the external hard drive. You would hit Erase, you give it a name. If you're a Mac and PC user, which I am, you format it as exFAT. If you are a Mac user only, you format it as Mac OS Extended Journal. I'm going to leave it as exFAT. I'm not going to hit Erase because I've already done this to the hard drive, but if you haven't, you can hit Erase and format it for the class. Now, what you'll want to do is you'll want to take your raw footage, and you can go ahead and I put my folders, everything into a folder called raw video. I even separated out my footage into interview and B-roll. That's a little bit crazy, but you don't have to do that. So I'm going to create a folder called new folder. I did file, you can do file, new folder, and there it is. And I'm going to call it 2022 0926 JRN 106-2 editing. What's that?
Is that in one of the files, or is that just a new one that you're going to make for your own folder?
That's a new folder I just made right there on my hard drive. Like, do you see it? Like, it's empty. Do you see there's nothing there, Jay? Empty.
I was gonna say, like, did you, like, you know how we have, like, you just, like, make a folder, like, last week? Do you want us to put into that folder and make it?
If you made the folder last week, then no, you're fine. I'm just starting this from scratch in case there are some folks who don't have the folder ready. So if you don't have a folder ready, that's how you can do that. Once you have this folder over here, you can create, for this particular project, you don't need all of these folders, and I've eliminated one folder since the last time we did this because Premiere's version has changed and things are a little bit different. So you're going to want a folder within your project called Video, and I'm doing this by hitting Command-Shift-N. I'm creating these new folders. You can also manually go to File, New Folder on each one. But I'm doing Video, I'm doing Output, which is where the finished files are. I'm doing Audio if I had some music I was using, which you will for your project. And I'm doing Stills for still photographs, which we're not doing on this project. You'll notice that the folder, there's no scratch folder. Premiere has kind of changed the way its folder structure works, so it's not a huge deal. You don't need that in this case. But I've got video, stills, output, and audio, all within my JRN 106.2 editing folder there, which I've put the date on. Okay? Then I'm going to take my video, which is from my memory card. In this case, it's from raw video. I'm going to move all of that video over to my folder that I just created. So I'm going to drag it on over into the video folder. So there it is. I'm going to drag my B-roll over. And again, you can see that I have gone the extra step of naming all of my files. So it says B-roll bumper cars, B-roll carousel, and it has the interview, and it has the names of people. I did that for the ease of editing for this class, so I can show you, what things are. But you can leave them as the default file names if you want. If you want, it's quicker to edit when you name it beforehand. It's up to you. So I have my project folder, and then I have audio, output, stills, and video, and I dragged all of my raw video from my memory card or from my desktop or wherever I have it, and I've dragged it all over to the video folder there. Okay? Once I've done that, I open up Premiere. And when I open up Premiere over here, you may get some kind of splash screen, some tips and things like that. You can X that out and you go to New Project. So I click New Project. And it is key that you get these steps right so that everything is saving in the right place. Messing up this step can mean that everything is saved in the wrong place, which means you stand a high likelihood of losing your project, which you don't want to do. Okay? This is also why I highly recommend a hard drive. Was there a question back there? No? Okay. Give your project a name, and I'll do the same thing. 2022 09 26 JRN 106-2 editing. Okay, and then for fun, I give it a new sequence with the same name. And then project location. Question, Julia? No, you don't create an account to sign in. Use your J whatever at quinnipiac.edu and then continue. And then it's going to get to the Quinnipiac login. Okay, this is the most important part of all of this. Under project location, do you see that it defaults to the documents folder on the computer? You don't want to do that. You don't want to be working in the computer's documents folder. You want to put the project in the same exact place as your hard drive that you've been working on. So I click on project location and I choose location. And when I do choose location, these folders pop up. So I click on T7 Wasim, which is my hard drive, JRN 106 editing, and then I click just, that's it, choose that folder, the main level folder. Okay? Let me go through it again. Once you do the new, I'm gonna I'll walk over and help you when we get started. Okay? Once you do the project over here, the project name, after you do the new project location should be your hard drive, and you go to choose location, it should be your hard drive and the main folder for your project, not the stills, the video, the output, just the main folder. Does that make sense? Yeah. And you're right here. Right? Oh, you already did. So go file, new project. File, new project. I don't have a hard drive yet. Desktop. So that's, you're going to put that on your hard drive. So it's the documents, that's not what you want. You want to choose location, and then go to your hard drive. Then your project. Okay? All right. I can help you with this individually when we get to it too. Don't worry about it. Okay, so I'm going to hit create. Once I do that on the project, if you accidentally created it or you don't know where it went, you can always go to File, New, and then New Project as well. That's out there to do that way. So I'm going to create. It's going to take a second. It's going to do its thing. If you have a faster computer than me, it won't take a second. Okay, when you first start Premiere, it's going to look like this. You're going to have this like bar here for learning and some other stuff and everything. This is not the typical window that people use for editing in Premiere. To edit in Premiere, the typical window you use, go up to Workspaces, Window, Workspaces, and go to Editing. And that's going to be the main one that you're going to use. So Window, Workspaces, and then Editing. And that's the main kind of workspace you're going to use. Let me give you the quick tutorial here. And I'm going to move my mouse over the things and you can see. This window here, right here, that is the source window. All of your raw footage, when you click on it to look at it big, you're going to look at it in that source window. This is the record window. The record window, as you're editing, this window right here is going to be your finished product. That's what you're going to be looking at there. And then over here is your bin. This down here is your bucket of footage that you're going to pull from to edit. Now, okay, I want this clip. No, I don't want that clip. I want that clip. That's going to be your bucket of footage. And then down here is called your timeline, your sequence. It's how it shows you a visual representation of all of your clips put together in the edit and what the final edit looks like. Once that's done, you click on this and you edit, you export your sequence. But that's the last step we're going to do today. Okay? There's a whole bunch of tools here. We're really only going to use the selection tool to move stuff around and the blade tool to cut stuff up. Later on, you're going to use the type tool to put names on things. We're not going to worry about that for now, but you'll do that later. And then over here is your audio levels, which you're not really going to worry about until later anyway. Okay? So now let's get some of our raw footage into this piece. So you can go to either File, and then you'll see there's an import option down there, or you can just double click on Import Media to start. And I'm going to double click, and I'm going to import, under the editing lesson, video, I'm going to import everything. Everything. So I highlight, I go to video, I hit Command A and I highlight everything, and I import it, and it's importing the files. And now I have all of these clips from the Fireman's Fair. Let's take a little detour here, and I want to show you what this finished video looks like. And we're going to put together the first 20 seconds of this video up here on the screen, and you're going to do your own thing on that. So, some of you may recognize this footage. Ben Bogardus has borrowed this footage for his class, and he just does this. I think he actually has you edit this actual footage. Anybody in his class yet? No? Okay, so you may see it again in the future. There you go. So over here, I'm going to show you the finished product, and we're going to edit the first 20 seconds or so. So let's take a look.
Northport Fire Department has been hosting the Fireman's Fair since 1924. The fair, it's a fundraiser to support firefighter activities outside of what taxpayer dollars will cover. Well, we run 6 nights out of the year. We get about 1,000 people per night.
This is a pretty rockin' fair. Like, I love the rides. I love the monkey maze, personally, from experience. And the riptide, and I don't like that ride. Yeah, that's really scary.
It was 104 today. That's hot. It's great to see everybody here. I mean, everybody knows about the fair. Everybody comes out, shows up, gives their support to us. They always give their support to us in any event that we do.
Choice films. That's right. Any prize on here we do.
It's just family. It's family friendly. Boys can run and have a good time, and the rides are appropriate, and the crowds are small, so it's good.
People in the community know the fair. They grew up with the fair. You really didn't know it was officially summer until the Fireman's Fair was here, and it's officially summer.
Pretty standard stuff. Okay? Question, Jake.
Yeah, just a question. Have you seen Trailer Park Boys? Because I was like, that guy's name is the same name as Mr. Leahy.
Bob Leahy?
Yeah.
I have not.
I don't know if he was messing with you, if that's actually his name.
He must have.
But
This
there's
was
no way
12 years ago.
Yeah, he could have been messing with you.
I think his shirt says
If
Leahy.
that's his name, then his parents are just like, his parents are messing. I'm sorry, like
I don't think he was messing with me.
that's awesome.
I didn't
That's
check his
awesome.
ID, but I don't think this is the first time that's ever come up in all of the years of doing this.
Look up Trailer Park Boys and look up Bob Leahy. And you're gonna be like, oh, that's that.
Okay, I'll check it out. I will say I went to the Belmore Fair yesterday, Saturday. I saw the monkey maze, and then that clip, because I've been editing with this video footage for like 12 years, that clip of I like the monkey maze personally from experience, it was just playing in my head because I've edited this so many times. And it's funny when you think about it, this kid's probably driving right now, and Izzy is probably 30-ish. So, there you go. But in any case, so let's go ahead and take a look at this footage here. We started with this shot here of the Ferris wheel title screen.
Northport Fire Department has been hosting the
Fire chief is
Fireman's Fair
talking.
since 1924. The fair, it's a fundraiser to support.
So we heard the chief talking before we saw the chief talking. What's that called? It was on the quiz. Dan. As a J cut. And when we do the editing in Premiere, you're going to see why. Okay? What's it called when the sound continues after the video has ended? It's the other thing. It's not a J cut. An L cut. Did you know that, or was that a...
I got it wrong on the quiz, so it's up there now.
It's up there now. Okay, there you go. Okay, so let's put this piece together. Okay, so now we have all that footage. Let's go find that footage of the Ferris wheel. This is fine. We'll start with this one. So one of the things I'm going to teach you is some of the shortcuts in editing. So when I double click on the footage, it pulls it up over here on the source window on the left. Now I can click on it and I can scrub through with this blue thing here, just like that. Or I can hit the J, K, and L keys, and this is generally what I do. I've got these 3 fingers out here, and I go J is backwards, K is stop, L is forwards. But if I needed to go through faster, I can go and I can push it 2 or 3 times and scrub through the clip faster with the J, K, and L keys. But what you'll notice here, it says 19 minutes and 19 seconds and 15 frames. This is almost a 20-second shot. I don't want 20 seconds. Let's just say it's the first clip, so it's going to go a little longer than 3 to 5. Let's make it like 8 seconds, but I don't want 20 seconds of this clip. If I just take this clip and I drag it down here like this, it's going to take all 20 seconds. I don't want that. I only want a certain portion. So let's take a portion. Let's take a listen. I don't want that ew, why in there, that kid saying that. So above the J, K, and L keys, there's the I and the O keys. If you look on your keyboard, you see that, right? If I push I, right now I just heard the kid say ew, why, and he was done talking. If I push the I key now, do you see it turns gray past the marker, right? Now I'm going to push L, and I'm going to count to about 8 or 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to take about that 8-second part of that clip. There's many ways I can get it onto the timeline. As you saw, I can drag it down like this and put it down that way. I can click on here to insert it. If I had clips that were already on the timeline and I just wanted to erase them and write over them, I can overwrite them. I can also drag it here and it gives me a few different options. I'm just going to go with the classic dragging that down. You can also drag down just the sound over here with a little waveform like that, or you can drag down the clip video over here. So this is worth noting now. Do you see V1, V2, V3, or you've got A1, A2, A3? Those are audio tracks and those are video tracks. With video, if you put video on top of each other, you're only going to see the top video clip. It's kind of like a layer cake, right? When you have a nice like cake and it's got like nice strawberry and cream and filling and stuff, you don't see that on the outside. You just see like the frosting, right? So you can only see what's in the top layer of the cake. You don't see the stuff inside the cake, and that's the same way with video editing. You don't see anything that's at the bottom. If you're editing on one timeline, then you'll see it all. If you put something on V2, you're not going to see the stuff below it, so on and so forth. Audio is different. When you have audio 1, 2, and 3 here, it's going to layer the audio on top of each other, as you're going to see. So, you can choose where the video clips come in. So I'm going to move this to V2 and audio to A2, and you'll see when I drag the clip in now, it's automatically defaulting to that, right? So I'm going to leave things on V1 and A1 for now. I try to keep a very neat and tidy timeline. The other thing you'll notice about this footage is that it's kind of that 4x3 square. Anybody know why? It's not the 16:9 HD rectangle that you're used to. Anybody know why? Bear in mind I shot this in 2010. In 2010, HD was not like fully the standard. This is standard definition. So it's shot in a 4x3 standard definition, right? So that's what I'm doing there. You're gonna have 16:9, 1920 by 1080, and I'm going to show you how to edit that at the end, export that at the end. But for now, I'm gonna drag down just the clip that I cut out there. So now I drag that down onto the timeline. If you want to make sure your timeline is the right setting, you can click on it, and I can go to sequence settings. In this case, it's 640 by 480, which is the resolution I shot before. If you drag in a full HD clip from your video camera, it's going to be 1920 by 1080, which is what you want. Basically, what I'm saying is, whenever you start the timeline, just drag in any old clip from your video camera, and it will make the timeline match. Don't drag in a still photo first. Don't drag in your music first. Drag in your video footage first, so that way it makes the timeline match, because otherwise it's not going to match. And you'll get like black bars and low resolution, and it's basically going to look like crap, okay? So here we go. We got that. So what was the next thing we had in the video after the first shot? James, do you remember?
Does it go right to the person who's there?
Yeah, the chief. It goes right to the person who's using the fair. You hear the person's voice first, and like Dan said, that's a J cut, then we'll see the chief talking, right? So let's get that in there, all right? I'm going to go to the chief, and the chief is hanging out under interviews. He's chief 2, and let's take a listen to him. Whoop, he's starting to talk. Okay, so now I'm starting the interview.
Alright, so
So, okay, it sounds like the interview's going to start here. I,
Northport Fire Department has been hosting the Fireman's Fair since 1924. Not originally on this site. Originally it was downtown on Main Street in Northport at the firehouse itself. As the fair got
that's fine. This is a very short clip, okay? Right? So, I started him talking right about when he started talking at the fair. I cut out all this preamble where you hear me talking to him.
a shout?
Yeah. It's kind of like crazy louder here. So
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can hear me telling him, can you shout? Can you talk a little loud? So, you don't need that part in the video. So I only put it down to the part of the clip that I need, which is him introducing the fair, right? So what I'm doing is I'm going to bring it down like so. And now let's see what we've got.
Northport Fire Department has been hosting the fireman.
How do we feel about that transition? Brandon, how do we feel about that? It was good? This transition was good?
Northport Fire Department has been hosting.
Okay, you're revising your answer. It's not good. Why is it not good? It was an abrupt transition. Would that be accurate? Yeah. Right? Well, okay. It was an abrupt transition. It went straight from this sound and then just jumped right into him. It didn't do that J-cut thing that Dan was talking about. We want that. Okay? First things first, one thing, what do you notice about the audio? Looking at the audio meters. What do you notice about the audio on this clip versus the audio on this clip? Max.
The audio on the first clip's a lot louder.
Well, it's a lot louder, but it's also coming from both left and right channels. On this one, you can only see it's coming from one side. So if you're listening in headphones, it would only come out the left ear. To fix that, which it does sometimes with the microphones, I can control click or right click, and I go to audio channels, and I just bump everything to the left channel, and now I've got
Department has been hosting.
both channels are hearing his voice. That's a minor thing. If you use certain microphones, it'll do that. Or if you record your audio wrong, it might do that too. It's not a huge deal. Fix that. But let's fix it. Brandon was not a fan of our abrupt transition. So we're going to make a J-cut, just like Dan said. But to do that, what do we have to do? What is a J-cut? How would we make this into a J-cut? Just walk me through it in words, not the technical stuff. How would we make it a J-cut? Brandon, you want to take that one?
You need to get the voice over the first scene.
I need to get his voice under the first scene. Exactly. Here's how we do that. I'm going to zoom in, and by zooming in, you can do the pinch thing like you do on your iPhones, or you can grab this here and do that, either one. I'm going to do the pinch zoom. And I'm going to, do you see how whenever I move his face, whenever I move the video, the audio moves with it? They're linked together. I'm going to go to the part where I want to make that cut.
Northport Fire Department has been hosting the Fireman's Fair since 1924.
That's probably a good spot to make the cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unlink my footage by clicking on it and hitting Command L or Control L on a PC. And do you see how the video and the audio become separated now? Right? I'm going to drag my video back to here where I put the blue line where I made that edit. I'm going to highlight both of these again, hit Command L and link them together. And then I'm going to bump the audio down one level. And I know that was a little quick, but bear with me. And slide it back now. And so now we have this kind of J structure that looks kind of like a messed up J, but it's a J. nonetheless. Whoops, I didn't mean to move that. It's a J. Let's take a listen. So now we've created that J cut. Let's see how we feel about it.
Northport Fire Department has been hosting the Fireman's Fair since 1924. Not a
How'd you feel about that, Martina?
It was better than the first time.
It's better because less abrupt, but what are some of the issues with it? You want to take a listen again?
Northport Fire Department has been hosting the Fireman's Fair since 1924. Not originally on this site. Originally was
So what's the issue there?
It's a little hard to hear at first.
It's a little...
You can't really make out what he's saying at first. It's like you kind of have to try to understand what he's saying. It's not very easy.
Yeah, you can't make out what he's saying. And why is that?
Because of all the background noise.
And where is that background noise coming from?
First clip that you put.
The first clip. The audio from the first clip is interfering with the audio of the chief talking. That's not what we want. So, without the technical stuff, in words, what would you do to solve this problem?
Probably just try to lower the volume of the first clip, so that way you can make out what he's saying.
Exactly. So let's lower the volume of the first clip. Here's how you lower the volume of the clip. I'm going to make this larger. You can see what I did is I just went between the lines there. I was making that larger so you can see stuff and see the white line that's there. So when I made it larger, you see these white lines popped up? Now, if I just take this white line, that's the audio level. If I go like this and I bring it down, well, then the whole clip goes down.
Northport Fire
And we don't hear it at all. That's not what we want. We want to do something called keyframes. I heard someone earlier say they're in the After Effects class, right? You live on keyframes, right? We're going to learn like the most basic of keyframing here. We're going to keyframe the audio. Keyframes are, in this frame, you want Premiere to have the audio level at this level. In this frame, you want it at this level, and Premiere is going to figure out the rest. And here's how we do that. With this audio, I'm going to click on the white line, Command, hold Command, and it turns into a white arrow with a plus. 1 dot, 2 dots, I'm going to look closer, and I'm going to just bring this level down like that. And so now, visually, you can see I'm bringing this audio down right as the chief starts speaking, right? And so now I can hit play and let's see.
Northport Fire Department has been hosting the Fireman's Fair since 1924. Not originally on this site. Originally was downtown on Main Street in Northport at the firehouse itself.
Martina, did that solve the problem?
Yeah.
Yeah, that worked, you know. Again, for this class exercise today, you're not doing that. You're just laying down clips, but, you know, we'll keep going. And let's throw one more clip on there, and then we'll get to exporting, okay? We'll throw another B-roll clip. How about the carousel? It's my daughter's favorite ride. Likes to ride the horses. Let's see what this looks like. This is this clip here. Oh, we got people walking. That's good. All right. Let's use that part with people walking. That's interesting. I want to mark out after they have a clean exit from the frame. Okay, what do I want to do to mark in? Remember the hotkey? I, right? Yep, I, there it is. And I marked in, and that's the part of the clip I want. So I'm just going to drag that down past the chief, and let's take a listen.
Main Street in Northport at the firehouse itself.
How do we feel about that transition? Dylan, was that all right?
Firehouse itself.
How do we feel about that? It's a little sudden, it's a little abrupt, right? In layman's terms, how would we fix it without the technical stuff? What would you suggest to fix that? In terms of what? Oh, you're talking about the video is abrupt. I thought you were talking about the audio is abrupt.
Firehouse itself.
Yeah, that's called a hard cut. That's actually pretty standard. You don't want to do like some people. I'm gonna slip into something that I don't want you to do, but I'm gonna show you just since you brought it up. When you're first starting to edit video, people always hit the video transitions, and we're like, oh man, yeah, there's all these dissolves. Let's just do a dissolve. That'll make it look great. And you get something like this.
Downtown on Main Street in Northport at the firehouse itself.
Like, and that makes people feel good, but in hard news, you never see that. And generally, hard cuts generally work better. I remember in my early videos, I did just cross dissolves all over everything, every transition in every video, and it doesn't look good. Years later, hard cuts never go out of style. But what I thought you meant was that you thought the audio transition was a bit abrupt. That is what I was getting at there. Let's listen to it. Boom, we're right into that. How could we fix the audio? Alex, do you have any suggestions on how we could maybe work on that audio?
At the firehouse itself.
Well, we did that with the first part of the clip, right? We tuned out the background noise, but now we're going to B-roll. We're going to a natural sound break.
At the firehouse itself.
And he's done talking, and we just abruptly get into the natural sound. So how do we make that better? You want to get the Finn's raising his hand? You want to phone a friend?
Sure.
You just do the reverse of when you did the last clip and take the ball so it starts low and higher.
Exactly. It's exactly what I do. I do reverse of what we did with the first clip. So once again, I'm going to unlink these. And in this case, I'm going to drag the audio out a little bit. And I'm going to do the reverse. I'm going to do exactly the reverse of what I did before. So I'm going to make the 2 points. And we're going to do this. You make this bigger like this here. You make this bigger so you can see the white lines. And then you hold Command and click on the white line. Does that make sense, Julia? You got to hold Command on the keyboard for that. Okay? So here we go. So now let's take a look. And we implemented Finn's suggestion.
Northport at the firehouse itself.
Was that a little better that time? A little bit better, right? Okay. And so that's basically what editing is. You're putting the clips down. You're adjusting the audio. Where it's appropriate, you're going to take the text tool and put people's names. So if I'm going to actually do that here, we're going to put this down as Chief. I will say this, I don't remember his name, so I'm going to look at it down here. And I actually asked him his name here.
John McKenna, JOHN MCKENNA, Chief of Northport Fire Department.
That is why I get them to say it on camera. This many years later, I didn't remember. So I'm going to click on the text tool. We'll go with this one down there. John, that is huge. And to fix that, you can go to Effects Controls. I'm going to highlight this. I should double click the text. The text is the T down here. You make the text box, and then you double click on the purple thing it creates, a pink thing, and I'm going to change the size of the text over here to something far more manageable. John McKenna. Probably want to spell that right. Then I make the second one smaller. This is typically called a lower third because it lower third and just describes who he is. Something like that would be okay. And then you can make that a little bit longer like that. Okay, so now let's take a quick look at the finished product.
Northport Fire Department has been hosting the Fireman's Fair since 1924. Not originally on this site. Originally was downtown on Main Street in Northport at the firehouse itself.
Okay, I'm not going to do much more than that today because, again, you're just doing the basic stuff. I will show you the last step, though. The most important step is exporting. This file that you export, this is what you're going to put on the class blog, on Blackboard. This is what you're going to upload to YouTube if that's your thing, if you do YouTube stuff. If you want to send me a draft, you make the draft this way, and then you put it in YouTube, and then you send me the private link, and I can look at it and give your group some feedback. I will say this. If you are sending an email, copy your group about this project, copy all of your group members on it, please, because it's really annoying to have to look up the group members and copy them on it because I don't want to deal with one person individually, and I want you all to be on the same page all the time. Communication is key, okay? So the last step, once you're done editing your video, and for today, you're going to put together a few different sequences, two different scenes, maybe 3 shots each, maybe 6 shots total strung together. You're going to do that, and then you're going to click on your sequence, and you're going to hit export. Once you get to export, I want to give it a different file name. I don't want it to call it B-roll Ferris wheel. I'm going to call it Fireman Fair Class Editing. Okay. And then location is going to be in the folder for today. And remember that output folder? Output is where things go. And then format, always use H.264. H.264 is fine for the web, fine for phones, fine for PCs, fine for Macs. Everything can read H.264. H.264 is what you want. And then this is super key. In my case, because I'm using a non-standard video format from 12 years ago, I'm going to have it match source, but you're not doing that. You are using a standard format. And what you want for your export is high quality 1080p HD. So remember, H.264 and then high quality 1080p HD. That is what the cameras that you're doing from the school shoot. If you don't do this, you will have some technical errors and your video, I won't be able to see it in the right size or it won't upload properly, or you'll have black bars on the sides, and technical stuff is important in this class. You're graded on it. So make sure you remember full HD, high quality 1080p HD, and then H.264 is the format. Again, for me in this case, I'm just going to do a match source because I have an older format. But then you just hit export and it will go to where it's going. Okay, it's exported successfully, and you can check it out. It's going to be hiding in your folder, editing, output. There it is. I didn't change the name properly.
Northport Fire Department has been hosting the Fireman's Fair since 1924. Not originally on this site. Originally was downtown on Main Street in Northport at the firehouse itself.
As thrilling video, right? But that's that finished video, and I'm going to rename it to something, makes more sense. Okay, but that's the finished video. You've exported and you're done. And that's it. That's the video you put on the blog. Now I'm going to turn you guys loose here to edit. Do you have any questions before I do that? Question, Tommy.
What if I was editing along?
If you're editing with me, well, I'm going to come there and I'm going to take a look, aren't I? Okay. Okay. If there's no other questions, I'm going to close out Premiere. Save your stuff by going to File, Save, or hitting Command S quite a bit. I'm going to quit. And I'm going to stop the recording.